What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. It is another victory week. We are 12-1, and we went over and we got a whole bunch of games to go over for this weekend. The Lions won, and a bunch of controversy popping off about we're cheaters. We get the call. Uh, and all they get the calls like that, man. What are your feelings on Green Bay fans crying about all the calls we get?
Uh, Somebody responded to that perfectly on Twitter. They put up a compilation of all of all the times that Detroit Lions got the quote unquote benefit of the referees. And I don't gotta go down the whole list of things, but I'll just talk about the first one that they lead off with, which is uh the completing the process of a catch. That was something that we never heard of in the game of football years ago until one fateful Sunday afternoon where Calvin Johnson caught what should have been the game-winning touchdown against the Chicago Bears. And I remember distinctly, it was one of those flashpoint moments where you remember distinctly where you were. I remember I was at my sister's house babysitting my niece and nephew. I'm watching it. He catches the touchdown. I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, hold on, hold on. They got to review it. I'm like, review what? And they're like, yeah,
Right.
we just got to make sure that he completed the process to catch. You see right here, he blah blah blah. I'm like, man, get out of here, like, man. They cut to the referee after further review. The receiver did not maintain possession of the ball and complete the process of the catch. No touchdown. So, like, I mean, that right there, man. Go back and watch that video if you think that the Lions are getting some type of quote unquote love from the referees, because that's our past decade in a nutshell.
Yeah, man. I remember that because I wasn't nowhere special. I was at the crib watching that, and they kept showing it over and over and over again. And each time they showed it, I'm like, "That's a catch. That's a catch. That is a catch right there." And like you said, it was like after further review, not a catch. And I was devastated. And the Lions went on to go 0-16 for the rest of that season. And that's a moment you remember. You always remember the moment you went 0-16, and that was it right there.
Yeah, to this day, man. To this day, it just makes absolutely no sense. It was a game a couple weeks ago where we referenced the process of the catch, and I don't know if we talked about it on here, or if just me and you was texting, but bro, like, whoever caught that ball did way less with the ball than Calvin Johnson did, and they called that a completion. So it was just the opportunity to screw the Lions, and they took advantage of it.
Yeah, man. We've had some of the worst calls in NFL history. So the fact that people are saying we get the benefit of the doubt, craziness, craziness. And before, nobody's ever given not one fuck, but never given two fucks about the Lions and our bad calls, man. But yeah, man, it was interesting. It's interesting to hear that we are the privileged ones now. So so now that is coming up, our how long? I heard an interesting topic. It's not. I heard it on Woolward. They were asking how long before we become essentially the Kansas City Chiefs and everybody hates us.
Oh, I feel like that's far down the line because a couple of things. The first thing that comes to my head is we don't have a Patrick Mahomes, and say what you will about Patrick Mahomes, while he may while he he's the best player in the NFL. Um, pound for pound, record wise, overtime, whatever, however you want to look at that. He might not be the best player in the league this year, but his resume speaks for itself. We don't have that player. We don't have that guy that's in the commercials. We don't got that guy that essentially the media just keeps jamming in your face, where you just the commercials and the magazine covers and the video game covers and the reality TV shows, like everywhere
That'll
you
be
look,
Hutch.
huh?
That's gonna be Hutch in the future.
He got a long way to go. He got one State Farm commercial, so he on the right he on the right bandwagon. But I mean, Mahomes probably got 10. The Hutch is one.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, definitely.
so it's a long way to go on that. And then the other thing is we gotta win. We gotta win one, and then honestly we have to win two. And then that's when and if there's ever a player on our team that people will start to get tired of, it will probably be St. Brown, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How can you get tired of that guy though? I mean, I know we got a different perspective as Lions fans, man. Um, I feel like we fit in a certain category as right now we think our team is the greatest team ever. But I think people outside of our fan base look at it as like either they're like, I'm sick of the Lions already, or they're like, man, it's still just the Lions. They're overrated. You know what I'm saying? And that's the perspective I get from looking outside. I get a small percentage of people that are like, hey man, y'all been down for a long time, so I'm rooting for y'all. But a lot of people either like, man, y'all they still the Lions. They ain't about to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or, what I'm saying, I'm sick of them already. So
Yeah, it's like if anything, you got people who I mean, I understand the people. Well, I don't understand them, but there are people out there that I see across the internet that are saying that we're dirty or the way we play is dirty. Um, we are the most penalized pass interference team in the league. So I get that to an extent, but really though, I feel like a lot of people, a lot of football fans, I don't know if they feel this way. I know there are some that do, and I feel like, I don't mean to tell you how you should feel, but you kind of should feel like, hey, look, man, if the Lions could do it, then anybody could do it. And I just saw a article, not an article, but it was this little thing they posted online from, I think, Albert Breer, some reporter, and it was Ben Johnson talking about how he doesn't want to go to an organization unless that organization has a solid um it has a solid connection between the front office and the head coach, the coaching position. Basically, the way that the Lions have built it, where everything is hand in hand, everybody's on the same page, and that right there is
definitely not the Bears.
definitely not the Bears. Exactly. There's so many teams. The Carolina Panthers come to mind, where the owner is making these moves. Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys. Owners are on a whole different page than the actual team. I think the Colts just got, the Colts come to mind. So, people should really, instead of hating, they should really appreciate and take away and try to learn and try to, the whole time that we've been watching the Lions suffer and lose. My whole thing was find a blueprint. Find a blueprint. What's the blueprint out there? And try to emulate that blueprint. And now, for the first time in forever, the Lions are the blueprint.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think, and that's what I'm saying, man. It was so much controversy, and we already went over the Dan Campbell decisions, but it was so many reporters and news analysts that were just so torn over what Dan Campbell is. You know what I'm saying? Is he a successful coach? Is he the coach that's going to cost us our championship? And it's just like I feel like a lot of people out there are just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like they're just waiting for us to lose. They're just waiting for us to give it over. I mean to you know to blow it all. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I know we're gonna get into the Buffalo game, man, but I want to get into the rest of the schedule real quick. Like what do you feel about the rest of the schedule? Like we got Buffalo coming up, and while that's a big game, I don't really think that's an important game. I mean, it's an important game as far as to show the rest of the people that we're a real contender. We can um beat or contend with the one of the top tier teams. Like we're you know we're real. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna be for the MVP race. But after that, we got the Bears at Soldier Field. That's a divisional game. The Bears are out of it, but that's still important in our race with Green Bay and the Vikings. Then we got to play the Vikings, who while they haven't who have been all over the place, man. They've been winning. They haven't been playing their best football, but that's an important game. And then we got to play San Francisco, who is not looking like a good team right now, but they're still a relevant team. You know what I'm saying? But do we even have to win that game? It's like, what are your thoughts on the rest of the season, man?
Um, so if I had to tell you what I think the most important part about playing Buffalo is, it would be that we're still in a race for the number one seed in the NFC, and the further you go along, the closer you get to that number one seed. So Buffalo, not to be cliche, but Buffalo is the next opportunity we have to, get that number one seed, because we're gonna have to win so many of these games. We're on a crazy, I believe it's 11-game winning streak right now. So, it's just a further opportunity to go down that road. But the thing about Buffalo is, this is honestly, man. If I'm to be honest, that Minnesota game, if you were to make an argument about that Minnesota game, I would listen to it. But honestly, this is probably the biggest game that's remaining on the schedule to me. Uh, if you look at it, like you said, Chicago was pretty much out of it. And we played them. We that game got weird towards the end where they came back and had an opportunity, but that I don't think that'll happen in the next go around. I think the Lions will pretty much handily win that game. You saw what San Francisco did to them. That was in San Francisco, but still, they lost their coach. They're they're crumbling. So I'm not really worried about Chicago. And then San Francisco, that game, I'm not overlooking that game, but at the same time, like you said, San Francisco is they're not completely out of it, but they're right on the border of being eliminated from playoff contention. So even that game right there, I think that the Lions, I'm not saying they will overlook them, but I'm saying the world's gonna overlook them as far as that matchup. And I think I know people are counting out San Francisco, but San Francisco to me is still a dangerous team. Definitely still a dangerous offense, and they've been riddled with injuries. So I think they'll probably have a couple more guys back. That Buffalo game really. That Buffalo game was rough for them. It was a blizzard. They were not prepared for that game, but I think that was an anomaly. And then, of course, you got the Minnesota game, which if Minnesota and Philadelphia continue to win out and it comes down to that Minnesota game, then obviously that's going to be the biggest game of the year.
So, what you said about the Bears? I'm not worried about the Bears so much as a team, as so much as us playing at Soldier Field in the middle of the winter time. Um, like we we've always had this narrative that we don't play good in cold weather, and even though we went out and beat Green Bay in Lambeau, it wasn't so much a cold game as it was just a rainy game, and it's definitely gonna be cold in Soldier Field that day. And as far as San Francisco, I got another question about. Let's say we win like these three games. Um, no, we all know the type of guy that Dan Campbell is. Uh, he's probably gonna play everybody. Would if we had it locked up, if we had it the number one seed locked up, and we would you play your starters that game?
Um, no, I wouldn't, but I would probably, if I had to guess what Dan Campbell would do, I would expect that he would probably play maybe like one quarter with the starters and then pull everybody. Because I just kind of feel like that's how Dan Campbell rolls. But no, me personally, no. If we had the number one spot locked up, then yeah, nobody would play in that game.
Yeah, man. Well, what do you what are your thoughts about this upcoming Buffalo game, man?
It's gonna be a big game. Um, I don't think Buffalo's defense is that good. That's nothing. I'm not breaking any news after they gave up 44 to the Rams Sunday. Uh, Josh Allen is having an MVP type season. It's hard, got to stop. Um, their running game is pretty formidable. They got some pass catchers out there that get open, and Allen, gets them the ball. It really just comes down to their defense. If their defense can get enough pressure on Jared Goff, then I think that's their best opportunity to win. Our defense, our secondary in particular, has been great all season. So I think they're going to continue to do what they do. Bend, don't break. But we've been the narrative of the scrambling quarterback has you know has been looming. Have we broken it? We beat Anthony Richardson, but we beat Kyler Murray. But we haven't seen any Lamar Jacksons. We haven't seen any Josh Allens. We haven't seen any Jalen Hurts. But I mean, those are the top tier quarterbacks. So uh, I don't know. I'm interested to see how our defense does against them. We don't know for sure who will be back yet, but I think that the Lions' best opportunity is to just do what the Rams did, man, and try to take advantage of that defense. That's kind of banged up for Buffalo.
Yeah, man. We should get a lot of players back. I think we'll get. I mean, it's still day to day, but I think we'll get most of our defensive line back. That'll help out tremendously. We still won't have our linebackers. Um, I expect Josh Allen to still have a good day. Maybe we'll see the Josh Allen of old. He'll throw us a couple of picks, but I fully expect us to lock up Cooks. Run out. I don't think he'll have a big day. Our offense is our offense. You know what I'm saying? Buffalo defense is okay, but I don't think they're good enough to stop our offense. I expect us to have a big running day. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles didn't really have a big game against Green Bay. I think they'll want to get out and correct that. You know what I'm saying? Have a big game. So you know, my biggest factor is the same thing that it was last week. Our defense is kind of crippled right now, and I don't want to see any more guys go down. But I think that we definitely go out and win this game. I would say I'm gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be a high scoring game, 38-34.
We are very close in our score predictions. Um, Unfortunately, I differ a little bit. Um, don't forget the Ty Johnson revenge game as well factor. You got the Ty Johnson factor in there. But I don't know, man. I just think that this game, I agree with you. 38. I think 38 will be the total for the winning team. I'm with you on that. But I don't know if the Lions are going to win this game.
Come on, come on, tell
I,
us why you hate the Lions.
I I got the Lions losing 38 to 30. Let me do the math on that. Yeah, 38 to 37.
Why do you hate the Lions, Marcus? Let me. What did they ever do to you, man?
Um, so it's not the Lions. And I don't hate Jared Goff, but this is a prime spot for maybe a Jared Goff interception, and Buffalo takes the lead, and the Lions drive down the field at the end of the game, scored a game tying touchdown, and have an opportunity to send it to overtime, but instead they go for the 2-point conversion and get stopped.
Here you go. Here you go.
I mean, it's possible, man. It's possible. That's kind of how I see it going.
Well, since you completely lost your faith in in the Lions,
Wow.
we may as well just go ahead and get it to bet it up.
Wow. A guy makes one pick and he loses all faith. A point at that. But all right, let's see what we got here. All right. It was a scary week, but we got through it. I finished the week 7-6. You finished the week 6-7. That brings my total to 100 wins, 92 losses, and you are at 99-93. Let's look at some of these games. We
So
talked.
so many teams let me down this week.
One of those teams was your Detroit Lions. They were favored by 3.5. They won the game by 3. We've talked about the Green Bay game. Last thing I say about Green Bay, man, is people are still. I still hear people putting Green Bay in that Super Bowl conversation, and I think Green Bay is a good team, but I would put them in the same category as like the Houston Texans. Like
Right.
they're a good team, but I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl this year.
No, not at all. I will say, man, they are a dangerous team in the playoffs, but I'm right there with you, man. They might win they first round appearance, barring they run into us the first round, but that's about it.
All right. So the next game we got an ugly game. We knew it was gonna be an ugly game, and it was an ugly game. Uh, once once they covered for me though, I turned the game off and walked away. The New Orleans Saints took on the New York Giants. The Giants were at home getting 4. you, you took the Saints. I said that this is just one of those games where crazier things happen, and the Giants covered, but they ended up losing the game. I found out later after a blocked field goal attempt.
Yeah, they did lose that game. Yeah, they covered, but you know what I'm saying. You don't bet on the Giants. I guess they covered though. So, but
Yeah,
there's still some lose.
let me help you out. Never bet on the Giants to win, but you can bet on them to cover. um, sticking on the topic of never bet against Mike Tomlin. Cleveland went into Pittsburgh. Um, Jameis came out. They took an early lead, and then he threw a pick, and it was all downhill from there. Uh, I don't think it was a pick six though. So hey, maybe he was a little too specific in his prayer.
Yeah, man. You know what? I would have changed my pick. I forgot that Cleveland had already beat the Steelers, and I expected them to go 1-1. So that was my fault. I I didn't expect Cleveland to beat the Steelers twice in a row. So that was my fault.
I think I already know your answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Everybody keeps not everybody, but I hear way more people saying that the Green Bay Packers are candidate to win the Super Bowl. But whenever anybody says Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers and Super Bowl in the same sentence, they get laughed out. They get laughed out of the building. So the question was posed: do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers could win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson?
um, um, Russell Wilson has proven to be better than I thought he was going to be this year. Um, can he win the Super Bowl? Mm, uh, uh, can they win the Super Bowl with the Steelers defense? Yes. Is it going to be because of Russell Wilson? No.
I'm fine with that answer because it answers the question. Because the question that people keep asking is, can they win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson? Which basically means as long as Russell Wilson is the quarterback, there's no way that they can win a Super Bowl, which is something that I disagree with. Like you said, their defense is playing great. His chemistry with George Pickens has been great. George Pickens is hurt right now, so we'll see how that goes. And they didn't look as explosive as they have this whole time Russ has been in there without George Pickens. But I think that I don't see any reason why they can't win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback.
Mm. Throw it up there. Let George Pickens make an amazing catch. Stay offense.
I mean, it's been working. It's been working. Atlanta, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Atlanta going to Minnesota. We needed Atlanta. We needed Kirk Cousins, and when the world needed you the most, he was nowhere to be found. Uh, Minnesota blew out Atlanta. I think I heard Kirk Cousins. I think I heard Sam Darnold finish the game with like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, I don't. So people were telling me that Kirk Cousins is done. He's washed up. You know, he hit his peak, and now it's over. And I didn't want to believe that. I've never been a big had a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins in the first place, but I figured he was at least good enough to go to go home and have a good revenge game. That was absolutely not true. Um, if anything, he lost him that game by throwing 2 pickoffs, and the Vikings just never looked back. And yeah, Kirk Cousins disappointed me. I'm with you now. Bench him. Put in Penix. You know what I'm saying? Sit Kirk Cousins on the bench and ask him how you like that, or you like that.
Yeah, man. This season has solidified my new theory, which is that the Achilles is the new ACL of the past. It took out Kobe, it's taking out Aaron Rodgers, and it's taking out Kirk Cousins. You could try to come back, but he's just not the same.
Not to say.
Uh, Tampa Bay, the Las Vegas Raiders went to Tampa Bay. We were both on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay at home, giving 6.5. And real quick, did you happen to see in the Minnesota game the blown coverage? It was like it was somebody posted it, the actual not the breakdown, but like a zoomed in portion of how lost this defensive back was on his blown coverage for a touchdown for Minnesota.
I think I saw a clip of it. I was working during that game, but I think I did see the play that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was Jordan Addison, and I don't know who was defending him, but Jordan Addison just took off Blew past my man. My man tried to catch up to him. Jordan Addison was to his left, and my man's trying to catch up to him. And inexplicably, he just decides to look to his right to make sure that nothing was going on over there. And then when he tried to turn back around, he lost his footing, tripped, fumbled, fell on the ground, got back up, if I'm not mistaken, and they had no idea where Jordan Addison was, who was just standing there waiting on the ball like a punt return. And then Jordan Addison just walked into the end zone. It was
Yeah, I remember it now. Yeah, that is.
it,
I do remember.
it was a
That's
great
craziness.
it was a great summary of what that game was. But
That sounds like the Lions DBs of the past.
oh man, speaking of Lions DBs, we'll get there. Of the past, the Raiders went to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. We both took Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay covered fairly easily. Um, Derek Carr got hurt in that New Orleans game, and I think they're down to Aiden O'Connell. He left the game. I think they said with an air cast, and now it's the Desmond Ridder show in Las Vegas on Monday Night Football.
So basically, what you're saying is they're not going to win any more games for the rest of the season.
They play. Oh man, I forgot who they play. They play Minnesota. I think they play Minnesota. Yeah, they're not gonna beat Minnesota. But I didn't look at their schedule. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of intrigued on watching Desmond Ridder because Desmond Ridder is 1 year removed from being a starter in the NFL. Albeit not a great starter, but albeit not the worst quarterback I've ever seen play football. So, hey.
No, I've always liked Desmond Ridder, man. I was rooting for him to do good in this league, and just his past performance wasn't quite what I expected him. I thought he was gonna come in the league with a chip on his shoulder. He did not. He just came in like a regular guy, and I think he needs that to be good, man. And in order to be the guy that I think he can be, I think he needs that chip, and he just like a laid back guy, like hey, he's too nice.
Let's see. The Vegas Raiders are there are two Monday Night Football games this week for some reason, and yeah, the Raider. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! You couldn't. What they say? The script writers, man. The script writers have the Atlanta Falcons coming into Las Vegas for the Desmond Ridder revenge game. And tell me that's not theater.
Hey, the way Kirk Cousins is playing, he might be able to pull it off.
Kirk
Drop
Cousins.
back, drop back 3 steps and throw the ball to Alvin Kamara in the backfield, and you got a winning formula.
Kirk Cousins is slowly approaching don't bet on this man territory. Um, Carolina Panthers. Your Carolina Panthers went to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. Eagles were given 13. I mean, I was like, whoa. I mean, come on. Even I can't get with that number. And I was scared, but I took the Panthers. You took the Panthers. And if it wasn't for Xavier Legette drop catch, the Panthers damn near won that game. So it was a good game.
Yeah, yeah, man. We won on bet it up, but I really wanted the Panthers to beat the Eagles and give us a cushion, but and I got excited because I was keeping up with that game. I was watching the score. They were going toe to toe. I was like, the Panthers might do it. And then the Panthers did Panthers like things and lost the game right at the end. So
Yeah, man, I can't even. It was. I watched a good portion of that game. It was a lot to that game. Uh, the first thing was that somebody put $3 million on the Eagles to win that game.
oh
Which,
wow.
yeah, it was a big story that somebody put down 3 mil on the money line which would have had a net return of 400,000. So I mean, that right there, I didn't even have money on the game, and I was invested. So I can't imagine how my man felt when Leggett seemingly caught that ball and then dropped it. The swing of emotions he had to go through. But before the game, we talked about it, and our thing was, man, the three keys to the game was stop Saquon Barkley, stop Saquon Barkley, something, stop Saquon Barkley.
Right.
And they did a hell of a job on Saquon, man. Like there was no big Saquon plays. I mean, I think he still got his yards, but I don't even think he got a touchdown. I think they did a great job of slowing him up. Hurts got off a little bit, and then we didn't even know that apparently there's some high tensions. You know, our thing was, well, let the Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown connection happen. And then after the game, you find out that, hey, that Jalen Hurts, uh, AJ Brown connection, that shit was taking care of itself because you come to find out they got a little beef going on between them. And they asked AJ Brown what's the one thing they could do to improve this offense. And he said passing. And former Eagles linebacker, former Michigan linebacker Brandon Graham came out saying that, hey, he knows that there's some tension going on in that locker room, but you know the team's got to do a better job of, you know, keeping business business and personal things personal. So that was a lot. It was a lot coming out of that game. But to your point, yeah, the Eagles won and they are still right on the tails of the Lions.
Yeah, man, and to get in that because that was a big story, man. Everybody was talking about AJ Brown's comments about Jalen Hurts. I mean, I expect them. I still expect them to be professionals. But do you think that hurts the internal strife that they have going on? Do you think that hurts them in any way going forward?
Yeah, I can't say that I can't say for sure that it won't because you know, when you look at it, last year when the Eagles fell apart last year. They were on pace to have a great season, and then at the end of the season they just fell apart. And all I kept hearing about was how that locker room was just becoming so toxic, and they had a lot of infighting inside that locker room. So you know, the same thing that derailed them last year. You know, I have no reason to believe that it couldn't derail them again.
Yeah, man. We'll see what happens going forward. I hope it does because you know what I'm saying it would have been great to have that cushion. If the Panthers could have pulled that off, you know what I'm saying. But we'll see what happens moving forward.
All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans. What a game that was.
Hmm.
Um, Tennessee was given 3.5. I should have known that was too big of a number for them. Uh, but turns out any number was too big because they lost that game. Will Levis got knocked out on a sack with 1 second left on the clock for a play that they ran for no apparent reason at all. He came back in the game. I don't think he did anything once he came back in the game. Maybe got a couple more yards, but at the end of the day, Mac Jones just it was kind of like Mac Jones just kind of looked up and he saw that nobody wanted to win the game, and he was like, "Oh, okay, I guess guess I'll just go down and win the game." And he did just that. So it was as bad as the game as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, man. You said all that, and you missed the most important thing of that game that I need to know. As far as that game, because no, that game doesn't matter. But did Will Evans throw a pick off in that game?
When I say Will Levis did absolutely nothing in that game, I mean he did absolutely nothing in that game. So to where no, I don't even think he threw a pick. His stats are Will Levis, Mac Jones threw 2 interceptions and still won the game. Will Levis threw 168 yards. That's all I can say for his day. No touchdowns, no interceptions, 168 yards.
Wow, wow, Will
Oh,
Levis.
he ran for 3 yards too. So
Way to mess up the streak.
it was a terrible, terrible game.
Are you still on the boat of the Titans keeping Will Levis next year, or do you think now they should draft another quarterback?
Um, the Titans record is 3-10. The Jacksonville Jaguars record is 3-10. Um, I stick to if the Titans have a top 2 pick, then I say draft a quarterback. If they do not, then I would not. I would not move up. I would not do anything. I would take the best player available. And this is coming from somebody who started Will Levis in fantasy last week.
What were you thinking?
Man, I was so mad at another quarterback. Um, I was so mad at another quarterback. We'll get to him next, or 2 games away. Uh, are you still on draft another quarterback for the Titans?
Yes, yes, yeah. I mean, you swung twice. You had Malik Willis. Uh, he turned out to be an okay quarterback based on what he's done this season. I mean, even though he hasn't played that many games, but it was essentially a mistake to get rid of him and go with Will Levis. Will Levis hasn't showed that he can be your future. As a matter of fact, he showed that he's like the opposite of your future. He's like they have Rudolph in, and he's doing better than Will Levis. So yeah, man, yeah. The Titans have been more successful with Rudolph in than they have been with Will Levis. So yeah, yeah. You got to move on for him. You made a mistake. You got to own up to your mistake, and you made 2 mistakes, and you've got to correct it.
I'm not there yet, but I hear you though. The New York Jets went to Miami. We were both on Miami because the New York Jets are an embarrassment of a franchise right now, and it was a pretty
They
close
actually
game.
did better. Yeah, they actually did better than I thought they was gonna do.
It was a pretty close game all the way into the end. They even took it to overtime. Uh, Aaron Rodgers thought he had a game-winning drive, and then Miami came down, scored a touchdown, tied it up to send it to overtime. They panned the camera to Aaron Rodgers on the sideline. He had that disgusted Green Bay. Everyone around me is an idiot look on his face, and Miami went on to put them away in overtime. So the Jets continue to search for a victory since Halloween.
Dog, I just got to put this out there, man. On that good service announcement. Uh, the NFL panning to Aaron Rodgers, Jerry Jones, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase during the loss is some of the best television in football history.
Don't forget Michael Parsons was pretty good too. That was almost Antonio Brown.
The look on their faces is priceless every time. During every loss of a game, man, the pan over to them is just amazing.
All right, to get back to the quarterback that I was disgusted with, the Seattle Seahawks went to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Uh, Full disclosure, I had the Seahawks picked before this game, but then I said, maybe the Cardinals pull it out and they split the division this season with they split the series 1-1. So we both took Arizona. But no, uh Kyler Murray cannot beat the Seattle Seahawks. I knew this going into it, but I think now after this game, I think Kyler Murray is 2-8 against the Seahawks for his career.
Yeah, man, I was right there with you. The Cardinals lost to the Seahawks the last game. I feel like these teams are pretty close, and I thought that Kyler would try and get a win out of this game, but essentially, I did think that the Seahawks would edge them out. But since they lost last time, I went with the Cardinals. It did not happen. Um, so yeah, mistake on my part.
Is this who Marvin Harrison Jr. is, or are better days ahead?
I think better days are ahead. At the end of the day, Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than I feel like than what he's presenting. But the Cardinals are missing some pieces. Right now, Marvin Jones is pretty much their only weapon, man. I mean, they got James Conner in the backfield, but I think they need a better back than him. They need another receiver to take some of the attention off Harrison Jones. Kyler Murray needs a another target to throw to, and essentially they need a few more pieces on defense. And the Cardinals will be if the Cardinals have a good draft and a good offseason, they will essentially be a better team this year. I mean next year.
The Cardinals, they got one. They got a. I think the leading target receiver on the team is their tight end. Um, I think it's Trey McBride. I think his name is, but yeah, I don't want my leading target receiver to be my tight end. So I'm with you.
Exactly.
They do need some more pieces, maybe another receiver. You know, if D Hop was still there and you brought in Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that would have been a great combination, and that would have changed a lot. You know, but even D Hop, man, like you know, if this was 2021 and you brought in you put them two together, then that would be great. But I'm with you, man. They got to figure some things out in Arizona. Might be time for a coaching change or what. But yeah, it's been a disappointing season for Arizona, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
mean, they're about right where I expect them to be though. I thought they would win one or two more games, but they're about where I expect them to be.
uh, Buffalo went to LA to take on the Rams. I took Buffalo. You confidently took the Rams. Rams came out the gate firing, and Buffalo could do nothing to stop them. All they could do was just give the ball. All Buffalo's defense could do to keep them in that game was give the ball back to Josh Allen and be like, "Help us, please." And
Duh,
Josh did his damnedest, man.
I saw the highlights of this game, man. Besides the Lions game, dog, this is the only game. Well, I saw the Lions game, so I can't say that. But this is the only game that I'm mad I missed, man, because this was a hell of a game, man. I watched the highlights of the game, and that would have been a great game to watch because they were going back and forth. And like you said, Josh Allen had a hell of a game. I think he had 6 touchdowns. For you to have 6 touchdowns and still lose a game is craziness. And then I don't know what Puka Nakul was doing, but I felt like he was like, I'm gonna show I can be MVP in this one game. He had one of the best games I've seen a receiver play, and yeah, man, it was a hell of a game.
It definitely was, man. Puka Nakua, um, hell of a game. 14 targets, 12 catches, 162 yards, and a touchdown. This guy was catching I mean, he only missed 2 catches, but this guy was literally catching everything thrown his way. I mean, he was toe tapping, he was high pointing. I mean, he was putting on he was putting on a wide receiver clinic out there.
Yeah,
Eight. Wow, he had 8 first downs. Like, I mean, it was the Puka Nakua show.
it was. It was like, where's Cooper Cup? Dog. I didn't even see Cooper Cup on any of the highlights, dog. That's how good of a game Puka Nakul was having.
Now, at this point, Cooper Cup is just like, you know, he's like a box you got to check. Like, oh, did I get the Cooper Cup this drive? Oh, okay, let me get the Cooper. All right, where's Puka? Where's Puka? Uh,
Dog, that's got to be the worst feeling, man. Like you're the man on the team, dog. Like everybody respects you. They like, oh, that Cooper Cup, he's a hell of a guy. And this upstart rookie just comes and overshadows you monstrously, dog.
that's how injuries go, man. Next man up. Sometimes, sometimes, sometimes that next man step up for real. Um, all right, we got Chicago going to San Francisco. You reluctantly took Chicago. I was all in on San Francisco in this game, and San Francisco uh, stopped the mud hole in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I, I, I got no words, man. Like, what was I thinking? Uh, Chicago, man. I just thought, they they lost what 8 games in a row, 7 games in a row. I feel like at some point they had to win, but apparently I was wrong. Um, and San Francisco was hurt, but apparently, just like uh Cincinnati, Chicago is determined to lose.
um, I just felt that. I just felt that like I said, I just felt that the game before I can't remember who they played, but they had their backup. I think that was a Thursday night football game. They had their backup in. They lost that game, but they had the backup quarterback in. Then Brock Purdy comes back and they play in the blizzard. So I mean that's like two back to back games. They've been hit with injuries all year, so it's like I still maintain that San Francisco is not a bad team. It's just that they've had terrible luck this season. They lost another in that Buffalo game. They lost the backup. They lost Christian McCaffrey, and then they lost Christian McCaffrey's backup, Jordan Mason, who been having a great year. I mean, that's just the story of their season. They guys keep dropping. They bring in this Isaac Guerrero guy. He had a good game against the Bears, but he left the game in the fourth quarter. He's questionable now, so now they're on to their fourth string. Possibly Guerrero might still play, but I mean they're just battling. They're just battling injuries right now, but they still got Kittle. Juwan Jennings is having a breakout year. Debo Samuel's complaining about not getting the ball after the game, so there's that. But I'm just, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens with the Lions.
it's not that I think San Francisco is a bad team. I just feel like you said, to your point, they've had a lot of bad luck this year, and at what season at what point is the season a wash, and guys just check out?
Yeah, I get. I mean, I don't think I would be surprised if because at that point now people are going to look at getting rid of Kyle Shanahan, and I don't think they'll give up on Shanahan. I don't think they're ready to give up on Shanahan. I think this season, but I do agree that this season is a wash because you just so deep in a hole that it's like we might as well just get ready for next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Chargers go to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. You again were readily available to take the Chargers. I took the Chiefs. Not a lot of analysis behind it. Just it was the Chiefs. Chiefs won. That'd have been a better bet. Just bet on them to win. But Chargers covered, and they should have won the game.
They should have won the game, but you can say that about a lot of Chiefs games this year.
Uh, it was a lack. I mean, yeah, it was like to your point. It was a typical Chiefs game this year. The Chiefs did just enough to hang around. They took it all the way down to the wire, kicked the field goal, hit the goal post and everything, but Chiefs still walked out of there with a victory.
Yeah, man. So okay, so this was another topic that I was hearing around the league this weekend. So everybody, and I know your opinion. Don't bet against the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Because they've been champions for a while now. But going into the playoffs, man, is this sustainable for them to be playing like they're playing and to keep winning? When it comes down to the playoffs.
Uh, it is because I heard it is because I heard Teddy Bruschi, right? I don't know if you heard. Did you see the Teddy Bruschi clip on Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
He said a lot in there, and I agree with most of what he said. Some of it was a little extreme, but the biggest thing he said in there was my favorite part that he said was that essentially you are the better team. You don't need to do the extra. Allow the other team to mess up. And that was that was my favorite part of what he said. And that's essentially what the Chiefs have been doing all season. And they've just been playing it close to the vest. And right at the end of the game, the Chiefs always pull ahead. So going into the playoffs, where the pressure is turned up the most, I don't see unless you got a team that Buffalo. That's the only team. Well, I can't think of a team in the AFC who can go out there and just put up points. Because if you force the Chiefs into a shootout, maybe you would have a chance, which sounds crazy. But if you just
Hmm.
play with them, step by step, like the Chargers did that. Chiefs, matter of fact, Chiefs took the lead. That Chiefs came up. Chiefs started the game with a 13-point lead, and Chargers came out there, boom, 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 14-13, and then they sat on that 14. But yeah, if you could come out there and you could make the Chiefs have to run with you, then I think you might have a chance. But I think Buffalo is the only team capable of that, and then everybody else is going to fall into the chess match that is playing the Kansas City Chiefs, I think.
So is this Josh Allen's year to beat Patrick Mahomes then?
If he gets the opportunity, I have no reason to. I got no reason to bet on. I got no reason to bet against him. If he's given the opportunity, right now they're looking at trying to go 1-2. This is a big game for Buffalo against the Lions as far as getting that 2 seed. But and then Pittsburgh is going up against Philly, so this is a big week for the AFC playoff picture. But yeah, no, I would bet on Buffalo if they met the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, man. And I just real quick on Teddy Bruschi, man. I feel like yeah, what he said. If you're the better team, you don't have to go for a risk. You don't have to. But if you're the better team, like you can though. Like if you're the better team, who's gonna stop you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think. I mean, if that's your mentality to play it safe, then I think you should play it safe. But if your mentality, like, because we ain't got to get into it because I know how you feel about, Dan Campbell's decisions. You know how I feel about Dan Campbell's decision. And if it's your mentality to go for it, I feel like you have to play how you play, because if you play how somebody else wants you to play or what is not your style, I feel like you're kind of handcuffing yourself. So and then he's like, oh well, Dan Campbell goes for it all the time, which is not true. Um, we've seen plenty of situations where Dan Campbell has punted the ball, or what I'm saying, he's kicked a field goal. He doesn't always do it, but you know what I'm saying. But he's trying to make it seem like Dan Campbell goes for it every single time, which is just not true. So
Yeah,
I
but
just
you kind of answered, but you kind of gave my reply in what you said, which is you said if you are the coach and that's your style, you want to play your style. You don't want to play somebody else's style. You don't want to do what somebody else suggests you do. But then, like you said, he doesn't do that every time, and he had already gone for it 4 times. So if you going for it 4 times earlier in the game, then on that fifth time, if you decide not to go for it, that's not placating to the people, to the critics. It's like, all right, I did my style, and here we are. Like my style hasn't like blown this game wide open. Like my style has kind of gotten it's always what like. I'll never know the other side of the coin, but I always maintain the idea that if he goes for it and if he doesn't go for it, I feel like we kind of still meet at the same spot. Just like to your point, just like to your, or to the ESPN's point, again, it's you know, fuck ESPN probability because it's based on nothing. Honestly, it's honestly based on somebody just sitting there. They're like, oh, it's analytics. It's not analytics. I feel like it's just somebody sitting there looking at the score and the time, and they're like, oh yeah, this team's got a 99% chance of winning. and then they don't win, and then it's like, oh well, they gotta, it's BS. But my point is, I saw something. But my point is though, like, yeah, they said that it was like a 78% chance of winning if he went for it on fourth down, and it was a 81% chance of winning if he kicked the field goal right then and there. So like my whole thing is like it's really not that big of a difference of how much it's going to change if you go for it versus you don't go for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that's like back to the point of if you're the better team and you have to get an inch, I think Dan Campbell is like, who gonna stop us?
Uh, yeah, yeah, but you have been stopped before on fourth and one, so it's like,
Yeah, but you win more than you lose.
yeah. But you had been stopped earlier in that game, though, and that was like a fourth and one. Now, granted, you ran a crazy toss play to Jameer Gibbs for some reason, but nah, I got you. The numbers are definitely in his favor when he goes for it on fourth down. I can't dispute that. Right. The last game of the week is the Cincinnati Bengals going to Dallas. We were both on Cincinnati, even though they don't like winning football games. Um, but
Somebody's got to win though.
somebody's got to win, and who else could cost Dallas that game than former Detroit Lions cornerback Amani Oruwariye. Muffin, he didn't even muff it. I don't even know what you call that. He touched a block. He touched a block punt to cause a fumble, which was recovered by the Bengals, and then the Bengals go down the field and they cut to Michael Parsons, who was like so confused on the sideline, trying to figure out what was going on and how this could possibly be happening.
Yeah, man. I mean, well, since they couldn't cut to Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they had to cut to somebody, man. And why not Michael Parsons and Jerry Jones?
Yeah, I don't watch. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't watch a lot of pregame or anything, but I watched for whatever reason I watched the pregame of that Monday Night Football game, and I got two very useful takeaways from that. It doesn't help now, but the first one was that they showed a report of Jamar Chase and some kid who had leukemia, and the kid was at the game. They kept showing him in the stands, but they showed the whole Make a Wish type program going on between the two of them and their relationship, and that was cool and everything. But they said that he's at the game, and they said that Jamar Chase has a special touchdown celebration if he scores a touchdown dedicated to that kid. Bro, that was great gambling information because I that dude should have that dude should have put $3 million on Jamar Chase scoring a touchdown that night because there's no way that they were gonna let that kid come to that game and Jamar Chase not score a touchdown.
Right.
That was the first thing. The second thing was they had They had Micah Parsons. Did you see the Micah Parsons interview? I don't even know who interviewed him.
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness, it was. Why did they? Who let this interview? he was on there. He was on there talking like, yeah, me and Jerry are cool. I love Jerry. He loves me. Do you want to be? They asked him, do you want to be the highest paid defensive player in football? And he was like, well, I mean, what are we talking here? Like, is it like 30 million versus 40 million? Because if it's, or what is the team gonna do? And like he was just talking real, he was just being honest, man, and people already got it off of Michael Parsons, so to let him go out there and say, man, I'm gonna find you that interview and send it to you because I mean, he was just talking just straight off the cuff, and it was like, wow, okay. And then for them to go out and lose that game after that whole interview and how much he loves the Cowboys, he was done. He was like, man, I need my money.
Uh, yeah, man, and the Michael Parsons Cowboys relationship is a weird one, man, because like you said, he's always talking about how much he loves the Cowboys. He never wants to leave, and you know what I'm saying, he'll be there forever. But then he goes and it always feels to me like he always throws shots at him at the same time. You know what I'm saying? He'll always say like not a direct insult, but it's always like he's for real a me guy at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. He is. He is. And I just think back to that draft, man. Like, I wanted Michael Parsons, but I did want Penei Sewell. That was my first go-to, and I just didn't think we would have a chance to get Penei Sewell. But that draft, man, Jamar Chase, I think Jalen Waddle had to go, and Parsons was still there. But just the fact that Sewell fell to us and we avoided, um, you know, Jamar Chase, he had a big, he had a rough offseason with the team as far as contract negotiations, and Micah Parsons is right there now. So I mean, there's a lot of guys that we could have got, and to have landed on Sewell, man, like that's divine intervention that the Lions have suffered enough.
Yeah, man. Michael Parsons seems like the type of guy like y'all will get into a brawl, and you know what I'm saying, he's with like, yeah, man, we gonna beat their ass. We gonna beat their ass. And then you get your ass beat, you know what I'm saying, because you got jumped. And afterwards, you like, somebody come up to you, like Michael Parsons, like, man, y'all got your ass beat. You're like, I ain't get my ass beat. They got their ass beat.
Micah Parsons is definitely one of those type of guys. He definitely one of the type of guys. I mean, he shows up every game day, but man, like he's kind of different, And this Dallas defense, he's been without Dexter Lawrence, or Demarcus Lawrence, Demarcus Lawrence. He's been without Demarcus Lawrence all season. It seemed like, so I don't know. I don't know if Lawrence is out for the year or what, but the defense is not what they thought it was going to be this year. A lot of injuries. Dak went down. They didn't know who to go with as far as running back. They brought Zeke back for some reason. Dottle, I told you that Dottle, that was my guy. Uh, he ended up having like 100 yards, and they was asking like, why haven't we seen more Dottle this season? So yeah, man, the Cowboys are a mess, and at this point, they really are America's team. Like, it's just America's team for everybody to pile on and crack jokes on because the Dallas Cowboys unite America. Everybody come together and just laugh at how bad the Cowboys and how and when they cut to, like you said, when they cut to Jerry Jones up in the box, it's like, oh man, that guy. Whew, I hope that guy. I don't want to say what I'm gonna say, but Jerry Jones got to be going through at his old age. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Speaking of that game, man, so I mean, the NFL always tries to do new things, man. And I mean, they've always got some type of gimmick to make the game to make the game more interesting and plausible. And this week it was like this game. I feel like this game would have been flexed if they hadn't already pre-planned for them to have the Simpsons interaction with this game. And it sounded like a good concept for. It sounded like not a good concept. Sound like an interesting concept. You know what I'm saying? So I got Disney Plus because they're having a Black Friday special where you get it for $2.99 for 6 months. So I tuned into the Simpsons part of it, and yeah, man, it wasn't really good, man. It was like, yeah, okay, it's the Simpsons thing, but it got old really fast. Like, oh, Bart Simpson is throwing a touchdown. Homer, let's go to the sideline to interview Lisa Simpson. And I'm like, I just want to watch the game. What? Why? Why?
Yeah, I started the game off with the Simpsons broadcast. They had did this earlier in the season with Toy Story. They did a Toy Story broadcast. I think the Atlanta Falcons were playing somebody in it might have been a London game. But I mean,
And
it
it's
was
always a horrible game.
yeah, it was the same. It was the same vibe that I got from the Toy Story one. But yeah, I didn't even make it through the first drive and before I was on the same page as you. Like, I just want to watch the game. And then when I flipped over to the game, I found out it was a delay, so I ended up missing the touchdown. But it was fun to watch for like 5 minutes.
Exactly. I couldn't pull a whole broadcast off of that, man.
Nah.
But yeah, man. I fully expected that. And then the game was born. I fully expected that. If it wasn't for that, they would have flexed that game.
Yeah, I mean, the league loves Joe Burrow and the league loves the Cowboys, so I mean they were fine. Atlanta versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now that game, I'm surprised. I thought that they would have moved the Lions Buffalo to that game, but I haven't heard any. I haven't heard anything about it, so I guess it's safe on Sunday.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the game of the week essentially, so they're probably not gonna move that.
Yeah,
Was that all the games?
that was all the games.
Um, who is playing tomorrow?
Thursday night football is a good game. I know that 'cause I got some people in fantasy going. It is a little more. Looking cool. The LA Rams are going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Where's my phone?
Oh
40.
yeah, well you already know where I'm going. I'm sticking with the Rams. Puka Nakua go out and have an All Star game. He's trying to become MVP, and he gave himself a handicap. He wants to become MVP in just 5 weeks, so he's gonna go out and have a hell of a game. Like I said, I think San Francisco is on a downtrodden, man, and I really think their players are checked out.
I really want to see a line before I make this pick. I know would definitely know which way I'm leaning towards. Uh,
I don't think it will be a big line.
nah, I wouldn't either. Probably like a 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Where is it? Talk to me, ESPN. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it is. Oh wow, San Francisco is favored by 2.5. So yeah, I'll take the. Oh no, it's 3. San Francisco favored by 3. So yeah, I'll take San Francisco.
Oh, okay, cool.
Uh,
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, unless you got some more topics, man, that's all I got for this week.
yeah, no, I got nothing. The Pistons play tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. They did lose to Boston, but then they ended up beating New York. That was good. New York
Sure.
didn't have their best player though. Arguably, it's debatable who New York's best player is, but if he's not the best, he's the second best, and it's not by much. But they didn't have him. But they ended up beating the Knicks. That was a good victory. And they got Boston again, so we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But that's all I got.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Hopefully they can pull. They've been upsetting some good teams that pulling off some wins that we didn't expect them to win. So I'm excited to see what they do going forward, man. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens with this Thursday night game, and we'll see what we'll be back at the Thursday night game to do our picks for the weekend. We pretty much gave our picks for the Lions game, but yeah, like I said, that's pretty much all I got. Until then, peace.
Detroit